Good evening. Let's call to order the November 2nd meeting of the Human Relations Commission. May I have roll call, please?
Asako Kanazi-Leggett.
Here.
Peter Resnick.
Here.
Greg Schroeder.
Here.
Stacy Burnett. Julie Robinson-Schaefer.
Here. Okay, so moving on to the agenda, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion offered. Second, motion by Greg Schroeder, second by Asako Kanazi-Leggett. Motion carries, the agenda is approved.
You have
If
to
there's-
do a
if
voice
there's
vote.
any- Yeah, oh, thank you. See, I told you I needed help tonight. All right, so actually, is there any discussion? Were there any corrections that needed to be made? None? Seeing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll get there. Okay, so next agenda item, approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion?
I'll move approval of the minutes.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion, any corrections that need to be made? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, motion carries. Public participation, seeing none, we will move forward. Unfinished business, the review and approval of procedures for processing the Rule 12-22G complaints. There should have been a distribution of the final draft of the process. Everybody received that. So I guess, do we move for approving that? So a motion to approve, and then we can open up for discussion if there's any. So is there a motion to approve?
I'll move approval of the new bylaw change.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
The one thing that we updated was the use of the word complainant and the use of the word report to match the ordinance exactly. Other than that, I think everybody saw everything that was the same.
And I just want to add a clarification, because Carla brought up a great point earlier with me. This is going into the Human Relations Commission bylaws. So I believe it's Section 4, Article 5, or Article 5, Section 4, one of the two, I can't remember exactly. But this is intended to be added to the bylaws that will then be available out on the website. So, any other discussion, comments, concerns? Okay, all those in favor of adding this process to the Human Relations Commission bylaws?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Fabulous, motion carries. So moving on to new business, the EEO workforce statistics. Do we have any motions?
I've got my own numbers. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve Applied Pavement Technology for 1 year, Cannon Corcoran Management Services for 1 year, Hanson Professional Services for 1 year, Ken's Oil Service for 2 years, Municipal Emergency Services for 1 year, and Tritech Software Systems for 2 years.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Open for discussion or any friendly amendments?
So I just wanted to say that for each of the 1 years, and I noticed that Cannon Corcoran was listed as new, but they had turnover statistics, so I wasn't sure if they intended that they weren't new, like were they from some way old one that they needed a brand new approval, or did they just like give us some turnover statistics of last year for them?
I think that had something to do with the fact that they've been doing some business with the city, but their amount of dollars was lower.
That
and
they
now
never
reached that
needed approval
threshold
before.
They need to move forward with.
That's fine. Their numbers weren't terrific, and they're out in Danville. So I figured 1 year seemed reasonable. Their turnover statistics, they lost 3 minority employees, but they gained 3 minority employees with approximately the same loss and gain. So the 1 year for Applied Pavement, I think they had a 2 year. And I think they had the 2 year because they showed a pretty good affirmative action policy. But in their turnover numbers, they lost 44% of their loss was minority, and only 29% of their gain was minority, which didn't seem great to me. And it was the same kind of thing with Hanson Professional, 28% down, 22% up. So it didn't look like they were making really good gains, either one of those two. Ken's Oil was small, so the 2 year. Tritech is in this small town in Florida that the percentages are actually okay. So I went for 2 year.
I'd like to make a friendly amendment for Applied Pavement Technology 6 months, due to what you were talking about, the reverse progress of 44% of separations were minority, but only 29%. You did mention how Hanson Professional had similar, but I appreciated their documentation of the affirmative action plan, all the efforts they were making, and so I think that's worth the 1 year of, see what can happen with their current efforts that we're not seeing with Applied Pavement Technology. So the friendly amendment would be Applied Pavement Technology 6 months instead of the proposed 1 year.
And I'm fine with that. I would like to hear back from them at some point, and whether it's 6 months or a year, but I think 6 months is reasonable for how they're doing with their affirmative action program, because not only, you're right, their numbers are, as we've talked about, but I even took a look, and part of the reason they have even semi-decent numbers of minorities overall is because they have 9 Asian Americans and 1 African American employee and 3 Hispanic or Latino employees. Their numbers just do not match what it should be in this town. So I'm fine with that friendly amendment.
Any other considerations or comments? So the motion as it stands now is Applied Pavement Technology, 6 months, Cannon Cochran Management Services, 1 year, Hanson Professional Services, 1 year, Ken's Oil Service, 2 years, Municipal Emergency Services, 1 year, and Tritech Software, 2 years. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we will move on now to the officers' report. Carla?
And I ask for your patience because I'm not feeling really good today. It onset early in the afternoon, and so, but I'm fighting my way through. Closed cases for this month. I've closed 1 case, the retaliation employment case. No probable cause. There was 1 informal complaint. It was for employment, no jurisdiction. The employer is located in Savoy, and I referred them to the Illinois Department of Human Rights. Formal complaints, there are no open formal complaints at this time. And I have located a new public hearing officer. An email was sent out this afternoon to the commission at your new Urbana email addresses and with the doodle poll, and I thank you for the quick response. They were like bing, bing, bing as soon as I sent it out, so thank you so much for that. And I just wanted to remind the board that I will be using the Urbana Commission emails, and I know it's going to take some time to remember that, oh, I got to check that one versus, so I've been sending information to both to kind of transition us. But then I will start just moving towards just the Human Rights Commission, Human Relations Commission emails. And if you need any information on how to find that, I believe our IT director sent out an email to everyone. And if you can find that, if not, I can send it again for you guys. Yes.
And just if others didn't notice, he had really good instructions on how to forward it to another email address, which I've been using, which is great.
Which makes it a lot easier to remember. And I believe Commissioner Resnick, you've contacted the clerk's office this morning concerning some updates. I was able to find those, and I've made those, they were minor corrections with lettering and taking out a couple of words that should have been removed.
And just to explain what happened, I was going through the ordinance in response to some other thing, and I thought I had remembered that the city council had made a change that I didn't see in the ordinance, and went back and looked at what was online and what the city council passed, and there were some typos and there were some left out words and left out changes. So I called the clerk's office and I said, what do we do about this? And obviously it came around to your office, so I'm glad that she took care of it so quickly.
I think I walked into the office right after she hung
Oh,
up.
that's very funny.
And she just said, "Do you know Pete Resnick?" Yes. And so she gave it to me, and so I just went in. The changes is that it's sent to MuniCode, and they do the uploads, and I think it doesn't notice capital letters and things like that. So I went in and I put the updated version on the website Tom did, this afternoon. And so we have that, and then I'm working with the clerk's office to make sure it gets into MuniCode the way it's supposed to be. And that's all I have for my report.
Great. Are there any announcements? Seeing none, we will move to adjourn this meeting then. Meeting adjourned at 5:42.